Earth, as the locals called it, a backwater world on the edge of the galaxy, populated by a species barely 2 centuries into their space age. His massive fleet of 300 warships hung in the darkness beyond their moon, cloaked from detection. "Pathetic," he sneered. "Their largest vessel is smaller than our scout ships." His second-in-command, Captain Ron, nodded in agreement. The Galactic Council's concerns seem unfounded. These humans pose no threat to the Archean Empire. The Archons had ruled for millennia across thousands of star systems. When reports came of a new spacefaring race rapidly developing dangerous technologies, the Council had dispatched Dex's fleet as a precaution. The Admiral's orders were simple: assess and, if necessary, subjugate. "Their communication networks are primitive," reported the intelligence officer. "We've decrypted most of their data streams. Military capabilities are negligible. Nuclear weapons, rudimentary energy shields, and a handful of orbital defense platforms." Dex's mandibles clicked with amusement. "Prepare the standard first contact protocol. Let's see how they respond to our demands for submission." The communications array powered up, broadcasting across all Earth frequencies in their native languages. The message was clear: surrender to the Archean Empire or face annihilation. On Earth, the response was immediate. Chaos erupted across governments worldwide as the massive alien fleet suddenly decloaked. Military forces scrambled, but their weapons were hopelessly outmatched. In an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Hayes stared grimly at the surveillance feeds showing the alien armada. "They're positioning for orbital bombardment," his tactical officer reported. Hayes turned to the assembled leaders of Earth's Unified Defense Command. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've prepared for this day. It's time to activate Project Prometheus." Across the room, Dr. Russell nodded, her face grim. "The system is untested at this scale." "We're out of options," Hayes replied. "They don't know what we've been developing since we detected their approach 3 months ago." Deep beneath the oceans and buried in remote mountain ranges, massive generators hummed to life. Technology recovered from a crashed alien scout ship decades earlier had finally been reverse-engineered, leading to breakthroughs that Earth's governments had kept secret even from their own citizens. Aboard the flagship, Dex received the humans' response with incredulity. "They're refusing our terms," Ron said, surprised. "They're demanding we withdraw immediately." Dex laughed. "Brave but foolish. Commence the attack. Target their major military installations first." The Archean fleet moved into position, weapons charging. The first salvos of energy beams streaked toward Earth's atmosphere. But something unexpected happened. The beams never reached their targets. Instead, they dissipated against an invisible barrier encircling the planet. "Impossible," Dex muttered. "Scan that shield. How are they generating it?" Before his crew could respond, dozens of small objects launched from Earth's surface. Dex dismissed them as primitive missiles, easily intercepted by his fleet's defenses. He would soon realize his fatal mistake. Ones. Each contained a miniaturized version of Earth's greatest scientific achievement, the quantum displacement drive. Dr. Russell watched from the command center as the first wave of drones approached the alien fleet, initiating quantum displacement field in 3, 2, 1. Around the world, power grids dimmed momentarily as massive amounts of energy fed into the planetary defense system. The drones activated simultaneously, creating overlapping fields of distorted space-time. Aboard the flagship, alarms blared as sensors detected the anomaly. "Unknown energy signature approaching," shouted the tactical officer. "It's unlike anything in our database." Dex watched in stunned disbelief as the nearest Archean cruiser simply vanished. Not exploded, not destroyed. It winked out of existence as if it had never been there. "What just happened?" he demanded. "Where is the relentless?" "Unknown, Admiral," responded a shaken crew member. Our sensors indicate a localized collapse of normal spacetime. They've somehow created artificial quantum singularities. 3 more warships disappeared before Dex could react. Impossible. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Captain Ron's voice wavered. Sir, we need to withdraw and reassess. This weapon. No. Dex slammed his fist on the console. The Empire does not retreat from primitives. Deploy our phase shields and return fire. The Archean fleet adjusted their defenses and unleashed their full arsenal. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes rained down on Earth, only to be absorbed by the planetary shield. The humans' quantum drones continued their advance, methodically blinking ship after ship out of existence. On Earth, General Hayes watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. They thought we wouldn't detect their scout ships entering the solar system months ago. They thought we couldn't crack their technology. Dr. Russell nodded. Humanity has always been good at adapting others' inventions. The quantum displacement field was theoretical until we studied their propulsion system. Where are those ships going? Asked a junior officer. Nowhere, Russell replied. The field doesn't transport matter. It disperses it across quantum dimensions. Those ships aren't being moved. They're being unmade at the subatomic level. Hayes studied the tactical display. 1/4 of the alien fleet had already been neutralized, but the drones were depleting Earth's energy reserves rapidly. They're adapting their shields, the tactical officer warned. Drone effectiveness dropping by 20%. Hayes turned to Russell. Time for Phase 2. She nodded. The Artemis platforms are charged and ready. Hidden in asteroid bases throughout the solar system, humanity's last resort weapons prepared to fire. If the Archons had done their research, they might have known humans never put all their eggs in one basket. Disguised as mining operations on asteroids and Mars moons, they were actually massive rail guns capable of accelerating projectiles to near-light speed. Jack Miller, commander of Artemis Base Alpha on Phobos, received the activation code. All platforms, this is Artemis Command. Execute firing sequence Bravo. I repeat, execute firing sequence Bravo. Across the solar system, massive electromagnetic accelerators emerged from their hiding places within cratered surfaces. The projectiles weren't explosive. They didn't need to be. At 99.9% of light speed, even a baseball-sized slug carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear bomb. Admiral Dex had just ordered his fleet into a defensive formation when the first relativistic projectile struck. The Archean dreadnought Invincible simply ceased to exist, transformed instantly into an expanding cloud of superheated plasma. What was that? Dex demanded as 3 more ships vanished in rapid succession. Kinetic impacts, sir, reported a science officer. Extremely high velocity. Our sensors barely detected them before impact. Ron's face darkened. They're firing from multiple positions across the system. We're surrounded. For the first time, Admiral Dex felt fear creeping into his consciousness. The humans were supposed to be primitive, easy to conquer. Instead, they had deployed 2 different weapons technologies, unknown to even the advanced Archean Empire. How did we miss this? He hissed. Intelligence assured me they were defenseless. On Earth, General Hayes watched with satisfaction as the alien fleet scrambled to evade the relativistic projectiles. The Artemis platforms continued firing methodically, each shot claiming another warship. They're trying to retreat, reported the tactical officer. Hayes nodded. Let some of them go. We want survivors to report back. Dr. Russell raised an eyebrow. Psychological warfare. Exactly, Hayes replied. Nothing deters future attackers like the tail of an annihilated fleet. In space, Dex ordered a desperate maneuver. All ships, emergency jump to Sector 7. Retreat immediately. Only half his fleet remained, and the coordination was breaking down as communication ships were targeted. As the quantum drones continued their inexorable advance, and relativistic slugs flashed through space. The Archon vessels attempted to activate their faster-than-light drives. Another mistake. The humans had anticipated this. The moment the first ships engaged their jump drives, they triggered the third layer of Earth's defense. Quantum entanglement mines that had been secretly attached to the Archon ships during the initial engagement. The mines detected the energy buildup of the jump drives and detonated. Ship after ship exploded as their FTL cores went critical. What had begun as an overwhelming show of force was rapidly becoming the worst military disaster in Archon history. Direct hit to the aft section. Not enough to destroy the vessel, but the propulsion system was compromised. "Status report," he barked. 70% of the fleet is either destroyed or disabled. Captain Ron replied, his voice hollow. "Jump drives are being targeted specifically." The humans somehow knew exactly where to strike. On the main view screen, Dex watched another cruiser disintegrate under relativistic bombardment. His mandibles clicked anxiously. The mighty Archon Empire, with its millennia of military dominance, was being systematically dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." General Hayes' face appeared on the screen, calm and resolute. "Archon vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. Your fleet is crippled. Surrender now, and we will spare the remaining ships." Dex snarled. "You dare dictate terms to the Empire? We would rather die." Hayes' expression didn't change. "That can be arranged, Admiral. But first, perhaps you should know what you're actually facing." The transmission split to show Dr. Russell standing beside a holographic display of the solar system. "While your scout ships were observing us, we were studying them. The scout that crashed in our Arctic region 50 years ago gave us everything we needed to understand your technology and improve upon it." Dex felt cold dread spreading through his body. That scout ship had been reported lost to a meteor collision. The Empire had never suspected. "Your weapons are impressive," he admitted begrudgingly, "but the Empire spans thousands of worlds. When the Council learns of this, they will send a force that will blacken your skies." Hayes smiled thinly. "We're counting on it, Admiral. This was just a field test for our planetary defense system. The next fleet will face our offensive capabilities." As if to emphasize the point, another barrage of relativistic projectiles tore through the remnants of the Archon fleet. Ships that had survived thus far began transmitting surrender signals. Dex slammed his fist on the console. "No surrender. We fight to the last." But his crew had other ideas. Captain Ron and several bridge officers drew their weapons. "Admiral, by the authority of the Emperor's contingency protocol, I am relieving you of command. We must preserve what remains of our force." Seething with rage, Dex was escorted from the bridge as Ron opened a channel to Earth. "This is Acting Fleet Commander Ron. We accept your terms of surrender." On Earth, Hayes nodded to his communications officer to end the transmission. Turning to Dr. Russell, he asked, "How much did we reveal?" "Enough to frighten them, not enough to educate them," she replied. "They still don't know about the quantum shield amplifiers or the fact that our technology is powered by zero-point energy." "Good," Hayes said. "Let's prepare the boarding teams. I want every piece of their technology cataloged and studied." As Earth's defense forces mobilized to secure the captured alien vessels, scientists around the world continued working feverishly on the next generation of weapons. They all understood one fundamental truth: this was only the first wave. Ron sat across from Dr. Tom Wilson, Earth's leading xenolinguist and diplomatic officer. "Let me understand," Wilson said, reviewing his notes. "The Archon Empire spans over 3,000 star systems, but you're only one of 7 major powers in the galaxy." Ron's translator converted his clicking sounds to English. "Correct. The Archon Council feared your species' rapid technological development. Our intelligence suggested you were decades away from true interstellar capability. Wilson smiled slightly. Your intelligence was flawed. Evidently, Ron admitted. How did you develop quantum displacement technology? Even the collective minds of Rigel took centuries to perfect it. We're adaptable, Wilson replied simply, and we've been preparing for extraterrestrial contact, hostile or otherwise, for generations. Elsewhere in the facility, General Hayes and Dr. Russell reviewed the data harvested from captured Archon ships. Their FTL drive is more efficient than we anticipated, Russell noted, examining the schematics. But their weapons technology is surprisingly conventional, just scaled-up versions of directed energy and plasma systems. Hayes nodded. What about their defensive capabilities? Phase-shifting shields, similar to what we theorized. Nothing that can withstand relativistic kinetic impacts or quantum displacement. Hayes stared at the star chart they'd extracted from the Archon navigational system. It showed thousands of inhabited worlds, trade routes, military outposts, a galaxy teeming with life and politics, far more complex than humanity had imagined. They'll come back, he said quietly. And next time, they'll be prepared for our current defenses. Russell smiled. That's why we're already developing the next generation. Project Helios is proceeding ahead of schedule. In orbit around Earth, engineers swarmed over the captured alien vessels. Every system was being cataloged, every material analyzed. Humanity had been gifted an unprecedented technological windfall. Meanwhile, the surviving Archon crew members were interrogated systematically. Most were cooperative, having witnessed the devastating effectiveness of Earth's defenses. Their pride had been replaced by a newfound respect and fear of the capabilities of this supposedly primitive species. One revelation proved particularly valuable. The Archons weren't the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. That distinction belonged to a reclusive species called the Elders, who had achieved technological singularity millennia ago and mostly kept to themselves. The Elders warned against interfering with developing species, Ron explained during his debriefing. They believe natural technological evolution produces unique approaches that benefit galactic knowledge. The Archon Council ignored those warnings. Wilson leaned forward. And where do we find these elders? Ron's mandibles clicked nervously. You don't. They find you, if they deem you worthy. As this information made its way up the chain of command, Earth's leaders debated their next move. Some advocated immediate development of an interstellar fleet to establish human presence beyond the solar system. Others counseled patience, focusing on strengthening defenses before expanding. In the end, they chose a middle path, rapid development of both defensive and offensive capabilities, while sending out tightly encrypted quantum communication packets, calling cards to the galaxy announcing humanity's arrival on the interstellar stage. From the orbital shipyards around Mars, the EDS Defiance incorporated Archon technology with human innovations, resulting in a vessel unlike anything seen in the galaxy. Captain Lisa Reed stood on the bridge, watching Earth recede in the view screen. All systems operational, preparing for first FTL test. The ship's quantum core hummed as it generated the displacement field. Unlike the Archon drives that pushed through space, this engine folded space itself, allowing for near-instantaneous travel without the limitations of traditional FTL. Coordinates locked on Alpha Centauri, reported the navigator. Quantum fold initiating in 3, 2, 1. The stars blurred momentarily, then reset. Where Earth's sun had been, now the triple star system of Alpha Centauri filled the view screen. Transit successful, announced the science officer. Journey time, 3.2 seconds for 4.37 light years. Reed allowed herself a small smile. Begin system survey. Let's see what our neighborhood looks like. Across the galaxy, the news of the Archon defeat spread rapidly. In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Concord, the loose alliance of major powers, representatives argued about the implications. These humans destroyed half the Archon battle fleet in a single engagement, noted the Teleran ambassador, their crystalline form shimmering with agitation. With technology they developed independently or reverse-engineered in mere decades, we cannot ignore this. The Archon representative, newly appointed after his predecessor's execution for the military disaster, spoke carefully. The Empire proposes a united diplomatic mission. We must establish relations before they expand beyond their system. Too late, interrupted the Vexor information broker, projecting an image into the center of the chamber. Our deep space sensors detected this vessel arriving at Alpha Centauri less than one rotation ago. Their FTL capabilities exceed our best estimates. Silence fell across the chamber as the implications sank in. A species that could advance so rapidly from planetary civilization to interstellar power was unprecedented and terrifying. The eldest representative, a Durgan whose species had been spacefaring for 50 millennia, finally spoke. Perhaps it is time to consult the elders. This situation may require their wisdom. Meanwhile, on the edge of the solar system, something ancient stirred. A monitoring station, dormant for thousands of years, activated as it detected the quantum signature of humanity's new drive system. Deep within, protocols established by the elders initiated a sequence of events that would soon bring them face to face with Earth's representatives. On the Defiance, Captain Reed was called to the communications room. "We're receiving a transmission," reported her officer. "It's not coming from Earth." "Source?" Reed asked. "Unknown. The signal appears to be originating from everywhere at once." The view screen flickered, and a symbol appeared, a spiral pattern that seemed to move despite being static. Below it, in perfectly rendered English, "You have been noticed. Prepare for contact." Integrated defense shields, orbital platforms maintained constant vigilance, and humanity's fleet had grown to 20 vessels incorporating increasingly advanced technology. In the United Nations Security Council chamber, representatives from Earth's nations met with delegates from 7 galactic civilizations. The Galactic Concord had finally sent their diplomatic mission, not with threats, but with offers of trade and cultural exchange. General Hayes, now Earth's chief of interstellar security, watched the proceedings with cautious optimism. Beside him, Dr. Russell scrolled through data on her tablet. "They're being remarkably accommodating," she whispered. Hayes nodded. "Nothing motivates diplomacy like fear. They've seen what happens when Earth is threatened." The Teleran ambassador rose to address the assembly. In recognition of humanity's unique achievements, the Concord formally invites Earth to join as a full member, with all rights and protections therein. The UN Secretary-General responded carefully. "Earth appreciates the invitation and will consider it thoroughly. However, we maintain our right to independent development and self-defense." As the diplomatic dance continued, Captain Reed and the Defiance patrolled the edge of the solar system. Their long-range sensors detected an anomaly forming just beyond Pluto's orbit. "Spatial distortion increasing," reported the science officer. "It's similar to our quantum fold, but more elegant somehow." Reed straightened in her chair. "Yellow alert. Prepare for possible contact." The distortion expanded, revealing not a ship but what appeared to be a doorway in space itself. Through it emerged a being of swirling energy contained within a vaguely humanoid form. "Greetings, voyagers of Earth," it communicated directly into their minds. "I am an emissary of those you call the Elders." Back on Earth, every screen in the UN chamber suddenly displayed the same image. The Defiance facing the luminous entity. The emissary's message continued, broadcast simultaneously to the ship and the assembly. "Your species has accomplished in centuries what others required millennia to achieve. You have developed unique solutions to universal challenges. And when threatened, you demonstrated both overwhelming force and calculated restraint." The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. The Archon representative stared at the floor. "The Elders have observed your kind since your first radio signals left your atmosphere. We watch many developing species, intervening only when necessary. Your victory against the Archean fleet was not unexpected to us. We saw your potential long ago." General Hayes exchanged glances with Dr. Russell. "They were watching us all along," he murmured. The emissary continued. "You stand at a crossroads. You have the capability to become a dominant force through military might, or a transformative one through innovation and cooperation. The path you choose will determine not only your future, but potentially that of the galaxy." In the silence that followed, the Secretary General stood. "What do the elders want from us?" "Nothing," came the reply. "We offer only knowledge. You are not alone, you are not unprepared, and you need not fear extinction. What you become is yours to decide." The portal began to close, but the emissary left a final message. "When you are ready for more, look to the stars where your ancient myths placed your gods. We will be waiting." As the image faded from the screens, the chamber erupted in discussion. The galactic delegates spoke urgently among themselves, while Earth's representatives debated the implications of this encounter. Hayes turned to Russell with a rare smile. "It seems we've made quite an impression on the neighborhood." She nodded. "From backwater planet to galactic power in 1 year. Not bad for a species that was supposed to be easy to conquer." Outside the UN building, citizens went about their daily lives, most unaware of the momentous meeting taking place. But high above, the stars waited, no longer distant and unreachable, but filled with challenges and possibilities for a species that had proven its resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. They had underestimated Earth. Their fleet had become space dust, and now humanity was ready to take its place among the stars.